Hey guys, and welcome to the battle phase. In today's video, we're taking a look at the updated version for our planned super heavy combo deck. So, since the last ban list, we have seen the banning of Baronne and Savage, and now also Appaloosa, which were all obviously parts of endboard for our previous deck. So we had to jump into the kitchen and adjust the deck a little bit more, and we did come up with a brand new cooked version of this deck. This deck does hose a pretty good one card combo that resolves around Lone Fire Blossom, or more in detail, Orpheus Scorpio. This is not a Sun Avalon plant deck, so there will be no plant locking during the combo. So, it is an actual combo deck that generates a lot of advantage with one card combo, just that it's plants this time. So, let's jump into the deck. So, first into the main deck, and here we are already starting with the starters. So the starters are obvious, every plant deck has them, so it's gonna be 3 copies of Lone Fire Blossom. You just tribute this, and it special summons any plant for deck, from deck. Just deck, not the hand, so you need to have the target you wish to summon with this in your deck. So this is basically, we say it's a one card combo, but it actually just gets you to your one card combo, which actually in all truth is the Plant Orpheus Scorpio, the real star of the show. So we obviously play the 3 copies of it. So getting Orpheus Scorpio to the field actually is full combo in this deck, and you will be able to see that in the combo tutorial. So this 6 cards are our 1 card starters. However, we do play a few more 1 card starters, and that is the 1 copy of Foolish Burial. The reason why Foolish Burial is a 1 card starter is because it can send another card we play to the graveyard, and that is Plant Billup, and when this is sent to the graveyard, it can add any plant from deck to hand, and it just adds the Scorpion. So Foolish Burial, send Billup, add Orpheus Scorpio, and you also have full combo. And don't also forget the 1 copy of Pot of Prosperity. Sadly, only 1 copy now because of the ban list, but this still allows you to dig for any of these cards that do give you the 1 card starting potential. So these are our pure plant starters. However, we do have more ways to get to our starters, either Lone Fire or Pelipin or Scorpio, and that is the Superheavy Samurai engine, which is just absolutely insane in this deck. So we play for that 3 copies of Superheavy Samurai Bike, we play the 3 copies of Superheavy Samurai Wakaushi, and then what we need for this to work, the 1 Big Bankai and the 1 Soul Gaia booster. So now I'm actually going to explain a little bit how exactly does this Superheavy Samurai get you to your actual starter? Because I said this is just like opening, so the Bike and Wakaushi is just like opening your 1 card starters. So let's just quickly check how this is. We're going to start with the Wakaushi. So we're now going to scale our Wakaushi, and then we can special summon him. So we summon him and then set the Bankai into the scale, and then the effective Bankai is going to add to our hand, so we can add the Soul Gaia booster. We then equip the booster to Wakaushi, and we special summon him. So this is the basic part of this, and now we have a level 4 tuner and a level 4 non-tuner, so we can actually do a synchro summon, like this, and synchro summon our Diabolantis, the Menacing Mantis, and then we use Diabolantis' effect, which can send a plant from deck to graveyard. And just like Foolish Burial, here we are going to send our Billup to the graveyard in order to then be able to add a Plant monster from our deck to our hand. So we're going to be adding the Orpheus Scorpio at that point. Don't forget that we also used Wakaushi in order to go for a synchro summon, so he returns to the scale. So this setup basically is, you have a body on field in Mantis, you have your starter in hand, so you just normal summon the Orpheus Scorpio, and you're off to the races. You have the full 1 card combo. Plus, you have pendulum skills set up from 1 to 8. If you get interrupted, you can special summon stuff from your hand. So very, very strong setup and lineup. That's why it's just so good to play the Superheavy Samurai engine in this deck. However, there is another way to play the engine, and that will be using it as a anti-handtrap basically mechanism, right? Because these cards can also play through hand traps if you already opened your starter in your opening hand. So let's quickly see how this exactly works. it's just gonna go just as before, right? We're gonna go scale, we're gonna summon, scale that, add the Soul Guy boosters. It's all the same cards. Equip the Soul Guy booster, special here, except this time we're now gonna overlay, not do the synchro summon, which basically means we do lose out on the pendulum scales, and we are going to make our Trap Tricks Refleja. If that is under the prerequisite that we do already have the Orpheus Scorpio in hand, so we already have actual full combo set up, we want to set up Handtrap protection, and this is exactly this. Because in the deck, we do also play the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which in combination with Refleja does give us some kind of a Handtrap protection. So this is actually where the Superheavy Samurai engine is just so versatile and helpful. So not only does opening either Bike or Wakaushi search your starter, if you already have the starter, it can provide Handtrap protection. So that's why I think this engine just so fits so well in the deck. So this now adds to our count of the starters. So looking at statistics, we now have 14 cards out of 40 that get us to our 1-card starters, which is 90% chance to open one going first. And that is a pretty high percent chance to open your, as I said, 1-card combo. You then have 4 other cards in your hand as well. So, moving on with the deck, we do now need to take a look at some combo requirements, and one of such is the most important one, that is the Plant Darling Cobra. This is going to get summoned off of Orpheus Scorpio and is going to generate your advantage. The only thing I would consider is maybe playing another copy of Plant Darling Cobra, because he has to be summoned from the deck, and if you open one, you can then summon it from the deck, and it's a bit of a minus. So I am still torn. Either I want to play another copy of Darling Cobra, so if you want to play it safe, definitely play another copy. But moving on to the other cards, we need the Spore. Spore is going to get summoned off of Lonefire Blossom, as well as it's going to get summoned Mardell. Mardell is going to search us another plant in the deck, and that plant is going to be the Therion Lily Borea, which is in turn going to search, you guessed it, Therion King Regulus, which is our endboard piece and provides the Omni Negate, which are now pretty scarce because of the Baronne and Savage banning. That is not it. We still have a few more cards, and we do play also the Nemesis Corridor, because yes, we do access Colossus now in the brand new combo with this deck, so this is really cool. Opening any of these cards, you just means you won't surge them, right? So it's not such a big deal breaker. The only kind of problems are these that have to be special summoned from the deck with Lonefire Blossom. That is a bit of a problem, but nonetheless, it's pretty good. These are the monster combo requirements. Now moving on to the spells. Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is going to get surged by Darling Cobra and is going to be very imperial. You also have to play the 1 copy of Predator Running. This is the spell we're going to search off of the Predator Fusion, as you will see in the extra deck. And we then also play the Therion This Colosseum. This is going to search by Borea, that is going to search the Regulus. So these 3 cards, there is nothing wrong with opening any of these 3 cards. It just means that you won't search them as before. Moving now to the Anti-handtrap portion of the deck. Now, as I've mentioned, the Superheavy Samurai stuff is already anti-handtrap, right? So we can use both either Bike or Wakaushi as anti-handtrap situation, but we obviously want to play more, because we all know that top decks are littered with handtraps. So we do play the 3 copies of Crossout Designator. This card is just so good to play into handtraps, and then we also play the 1 copy of Called by the Grave. And this kind of concludes our anti-handtrap package. So 3 Bike, 3 Wakaushi, 1 Called by, and 3 Crossout Designators. So if we are taking a look at a little bit statistically at this anti-handtrap, all anti-handtrap cards, including Superheavy Samurai cards, we have 11 out of 40 in the deck, so that's 82% chance to open one going first. Even if you have to use your Superheavy Samurai cards for searching a starter, that means you can't use them for anti-handtrap purposes, you will still have 5 out of 40 cards in your deck that are anti-handtraps, and that is 51% chance to open one going first, which is still pretty good. You're going to open that every second game. So, moving on with our deck, we have the trap combo requirement, and that is the 1 copy of Gravedigger's Trap Hole. Gravedigger's Trap Hole is that brick we play in order for Trap Tricks Refleja and the Superheavy Samurai engine to be able to protect us from hand traps. Okay, talking about hand traps, we do play a plethora of hand traps, and obviously different ones because we play Designator. So we're gonna start with 2 copies of Ash and 2 copies of Imperm. We play 2 of each because these cards are just very generic and so good. And then also a lot of hand traps for crossouts. So we play the 1 Mourner, the 1 Droll, the 1 Veiler, the 1 Ogre, and the 1 Nib. Obviously, Nib being the probably very important target for crossout Designator. That is, as you can see here on the screen, a lot of different hand traps that are helping us going second, but also a lot of hand traps allowing us, different ones, allowing us to use crossout Designator effectively. So that is actually 9 hand traps in the main deck. So 9 spots for hand traps, can also be defensive cards or going second cards if you wish so. But that is a 74% chance to open a hand trap going first, and more importantly, an 81% chance to open a hand trap going second, which makes us pretty likely to also disrupt our opponent's plays going second, at least for a minimum amount. Even more if you decide to play board breakers instead of hand traps in the deck. Moving on to the extra deck. For the links, we play the 2 most crucial links we have. So one is Aromaspheric Jasmine. This is the main generator of combos for plants, and then the other card is the Cross Sheep. These 2 are imperial to the combo. We're gonna go through both of these and you just have to play them, right? For the remainder of the links, we also have the IP Masquerena, just a part of the end board and also very synergistic with the rest of our end board, and you will see this shortly. Then we also play IP targets. No Appaloosa this time, but we do play the Nightmare Unicorn or definitely SP Little Knight if you have it, right? SP Little Knight most certainly instead of Unicorn if you have the chance to go there. And then also the Goddess. And Goddess actually is gonna come up with IP Masquerena, as you will see in the continuation of this extra deck. So that is the link lineup, so 5 links. Moving on to the synchro lineup, which is actually quite wide. So first is gonna be Cupid Pitch. Cupid Pitch we make because Spore is a level 1 tuner, and Lone Fires and or the Preda plants are level 3. So we're gonna be able to make a level 4 synchro. We're gonna make Cupid Pitch, continue synchroing with it, and then that is gonna add the Corridor and the Colossus. So this is how we add Colossus to the end board. And then the rest of the synchros are actually our end board pieces. So the first end board piece is the Abel. This is the actual new card that got released right now in Infinite Forbidden, and it's actually a really good level 8 end piece board that will replace Savage in our end board, because it will be able to return a spell from our graveyard to our hand, because it's gonna be made with Cupid Pitch, who is a synchro tuner, which means that we can either add back Instant Fusion for follow-up, or we can add back the Preda Whip spell that is not once per turn, and we can extend even further with it. So also the effect on summon is really good, but the effect on for interruption is even better, because when your opponent activates a card or effect, we can special summon a level 7 or lower synchro tuner from the extra deck. That is a special summon, not a synchro summon. You have to keep that in mind, and we do keep that in mind. So the first target we have for this is Silvera. Silvera of the White Forest, also the new card. When this is special summon from the extra deck, not synchro summon, special summon, it just Book of Moons, so sets all of our opponent's cards, face-up cards, face-down defense position. So it basically Book of Moons his whole field, and it's basically a UCT, and is a very strong interruption. So this is the first option. However, we do have the second option, and that is we just summon the Zapper Shrimp. This is also a new card, a level 2 tuner. When this is special summoned, you can optionally discard a card from your hand and pop a spell trap on the field, so that's even extra layered interruption on that. But it can, just like Formula Synchron, synchro summon during our opponent's main phase. So then you're going to have a level 8 synchro and a level 2 tuner synchro, and you'll be able to synchro summon these 2 and make the Satellite Warrior that we also play. So that is your second option, right? You go for Zapper Shrimp, and then you go for Satellite Warrior, and Satellite Warrior is then gonna be able to pop during our opponent's turn 3 cards. 3 because we're gonna have in the graveyard the Cupid Pitch, the Diabel, and the Zapper Shrimp. So that's gonna be 3 pops with Satellite Warrior. So both of these are your options how to interrupt your opponent's turn with Diabel. Now I'm going to show how exactly do these synergize very well with your IP, of course. And the first option is you are going to use Silvera as interruption. So we're gonna, your opponent activates a card or effect. These both are pieces of your end board, by the way. So Diabel, your opponent uses a card or effect. Diabel triggers and summons Silvera from from the extra deck, and it just flips your opponent monster's face down defense position. That's when you have two monsters that are basically useless on the field. So we're gonna go 1, 2, and then a link 2, and now we can use an opponent's monster as the final link 5 in order to make Underworld Goddess. And then Underworld Goddess negates everything. It has a graveyard summon negate, and it also is hard to deal with because it can only be targeted. So basically this is the first option, but the second option also isn't that bad because you can still do, you can go, okay, Diabell summon the Zapper Shrimp, then Zapper Shrimp and Diabell, we synchro summon these two, we make Satellite Warrior, we pop 3 cards, and that's still 1 and 2 monsters, including a Link monster, and that can basically make your Unicorn or Aspie Little Knight even better for additional interruptions. So this is how these works together. This is how more interactive now our endboard is now that we lost the generic Omni Negate. Moving on to the fusion part. The fusion part is the Predator Plant Ambu. Predator Plant Ambu, this is what we summon off of the instant fusion, and as such it just generates a lot of advantage, and he does add the Predator Running spell from deck, and by the way, graveyard or anywhere else to our hand. So if you already opened this, you can just use it, it goes to the graveyard, and then Ambu will add it from the graveyard. Since it's not once per turn, you can use it multiple times. So that is, but this card is just absolutely crazy. Then we play the Colossus because we played the Cupid Pitch, who's gonna add the Corridor. Don't forget that Spore banishes a plant from the graveyard, so we're gonna have a target for Corridor's effect to then go into Colossus. So Colossus is a brand new part of the end board that floodgates our opponent. Final card is, the final fusion is Millenniumized Restrict. I've added this because Diabell adds a spell from graveyard to back to hand that can be instant fusion, and then you can have instant fusion as a follow-up, so you can during your next turn summon Millenniumized Restrict, who is a negate, and then equip some monster to itself, right? So I think it's a pretty decent follow-up you can play. This is the biggest flex spot in this deck, so you can play whatever you want. Also, these are the fusions, and the final card is the card that you have to play in order to make the Superheavy Samurais also act as anti-handtrap protection. That is Rafflesia. And that is the full deck. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check the combo tutorial in the description because, as you can see, it's a lot more interesting than it was before when we just popped a bunch of Omni Negates on the field. So now we had to actually think a little bit outside the box because of the bannings, and we came up with a pretty decent combo. So please do check it out in the description. It's a very fun deck to play, not your typical plant spam deck. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.